Hi, I'm Jordan. This is Books with Brushu. I like to drink coffee, or today, water, and read books. So today, we are going to talk about all of the books that I read in the month of December, which was quite a few. I read a lot of Christmas romances, like a lot, more than I've ever read before. And I read about half of them physically and half of them audiobook. And I got to listen to a lot of audiobooks because I drove from Georgia to Oklahoma, where my parents live, for Christmas. 12 hours there and 12 hours back. That is a lot of audiobook listening. So I got through quite a few audiobooks this month, which I knew I would. Let's go ahead and break down some stats. Now, for some reason, Fable is not working today. I would assume because it's January 1st, maybe a lot of people are on it. Maybe they're trying to change some of their layouts and stuff for the new year. So I don't know. I just know that I couldn't get it pulled up and couldn't get anything to load. And I've been trying for a while. And I hope I don't have broccoli in my teeth because I made fried rice. Let's go through some stats for December. So in December, I read 11 books. I read 11 books. I listened to 7 audiobooks, read 3 books physically, read 1 book on my Kindle, and DNF'd 1 book. I had a 3.86 average rating, so not too bad. I read a total of, are you ready for this? 4,738 pages. That's so much. That's so much. Now, mind you, I have been off of work for the last week and a half. And I had all those pages reading while I was driving. So, just caveat. I finished the year at 142% of my reading goal. So, I'm really proud of myself for that. Because in the past couple years, I have not met my reading goal. And this year, I far surpassed it because I made reading a priority this year. And look where it got me. It's great. For the genres, I read 7 romance books. Yeah, 7 romance books. That's a lot. 2 literary fiction, 1 YA fantasy, 1 YA romance, so really 8 romance, and 1 historical fiction / historical fantasy for 11 books. Whew, y'all, that's some stats now. That is some stats. We'll go in chronological order of when I finished these books. However, I also need to pull up my TBR. Okay, let's first go through the books that were on my spinner wheel TBR that I did not get to. Now, if you missed my December spinner wheel TBR, I will leave that linked in the description below so you can check that out and see what exactly the spinner wheel chose for me and what the prompts were. Let's go ahead and go through the books that I did not read that were on my TBR. I pick a book from my Harry Potter mug every month, and that's just a book that has been on my shelves for way too long. And that month, this book was The Choice by Nicholas Sparks. Again, I did not get to my mug pick this month, unfortunately, because I just didn't. So there's that. And then I also did not get to Molly by Teresa Crane. Yeah, Teresa Crane. Just didn't have time to get to this one. Simple as that. Another book that I didn't get to. I don't know if that's not the right word. I should say another book that I didn't finish is Alchemized by Sen Lin Yu. Now, Alchemized was a Fairy Loot book pick and also my Year in Eldia pick. I do not get my 10 points for the month of December for my Year in Eldia book because I didn't finish this book. Now, is this almost a 1,000-page book? Yeah, it's almost 1,000 pages. I still have my winter book cover on it. So yes, it is almost 1,000 pages. And I did get through a majority of this book. I just didn't quite finish it before the end of December. I'm on page 673. So I've read this, have not read this. So I have a little bit under 300 pages left in this book. And I did count these 670 whatever pages towards my pages read in December, because that's a lot of book. That's a lot of book. I know we're talking about the books that I've read in December. This book is ruining me, y'all. And I've read it before. I've read Manacled. I read Manacled this year, so I know what's gonna happen. I know how it's gonna end. I know the major events that go on. And it's still ruining me. It's still ruining me. I have to keep taking breaks because it hurts. It hurts. It's so tragic, but it's so good. So I guess I'll leave it until the January wrap up to talk about this more, but let's talk about the audiobooks that I did not get to. I did not get to How to End a Love Story or Girl Forgotten. Just didn't have time to get to those. Simple as that. Now let's talk about the books that I did read in December. The first chunk of these books, I'm not going to talk about too much because I did a Christmas reading vlog where I read 6 books in that reading vlog. I will link it down below so you can check out and hear my thoughts more. What? I will leave that video linked below so you can check it out and hear more of my thoughts on those books. That's what I was trying to say. Anyway, also, let's pause. If you like my videos, if you're enjoying this, which I hope you are, if you want to see more seasonal reading vlogs, a lot of fun spinner wheel TBRs, and other random book videos, make sure you give this video a like and subscribe to my channel because I do upload at least 1 video a week, sometimes 2, depending on how busy I am. And if I have any ideas. If you have any ideas of books, of videos you want me to do, also leave those in the comments. All right, Jordan, let's get into it. Come on. Okay, the first book I finished in December was The Christmas Tree Farm by Laurie Gilmore, which is the 3rd book in the Dream Harbor series. And let me tell y'all, I love this series. This series is so good. I have given all of the books in this series so far at least 4 stars or higher. I love it. This is kind of a grumpy sunshine where the female is the grumpy person. So this out-of-towner randomly buys a Christmas tree farm, sight unseen. She didn't realize she was buying a Christmas tree farm or that the house on the property was so run down. And she moves in. She doesn't want any help. She doesn't want any involvement from her neighbors. She wants them to leave her alone. Yet she needs to fix things up and she has no money to do it. This being the small town that it is, they try to get into her business and they want to help her. The main character from the first book, her brother is in town visiting for the 2 weeks, in the last 2 weeks in December. And the town sends him on a little mission over to the Christmas tree farm to see what this new person is about and also to kind of investigate because the previous owner of the house was a little bit suspicious and may or may not have murdered his wife and may or may not have buried her body on the property / maybe buried some treasure, gold, money, something. The town's snoopy and they want to know. So under that pretense / she was out walking his dogs, he goes over there and befriends her and they fall in love. My full thoughts are in that reading vlog. I did enjoy the book. I gave The Christmas Tree Farm 4.25 stars. Then I physically read Good Spirits by B.K. Borison, and y'all, when I tell you I bawled my eyes out at the end of this book, oh my gosh. Oh my gosh. This book 100% is worth it. I loved both of the characters. The main female character was a little annoying. The main male character was kind of rude at first. You know, you kind of get over it. And I liked it. I enjoyed it. It was a really good Christmas read. Definitely cried a lot. I gave Good Spirits 4.5 stars. Then I finally finished The Blood Phoenix by Amber Chen. This is the Illumicrate edition of this book. Now, I absolutely loved the first book in this duology, which was of Jade and Dragons. Loved it. Loved it so much. Honestly, the second book was kind of a letdown. The ending, I hated the ending. I hated the ending. It just kind of left things up in the air. Like, the two main characters just disappeared at the end. Like, what the fuck? I thought this book was a little bit meandering. The main characters got into multiple situations and like miraculously just made it out of those situations unscathed. Like at the last minute, somebody did something and then they were saved and then they weren't gonna die, and it just kept happening over and over again. Like the main plot, I thought the main plot of this book was supposed to be these guys attacking the Empire and conquering the Empire so that they could renew their resources and, you know, have trade, etc. That's not what it was about at all. It was about the 10th Isle and the people who ruled that, and them being in cahoots with these pirates that we've never heard of before. Never heard of any pirates in the first book. In the first book, it was all about going to war with the Empire. And then all of a sudden, we're introduced to a bunch of these pirates and the people from the 10th island, and they're the ones that are like attacking them. I don't know. I was disappointed in this book. Either stick to what you had talked about in the previous book, or just have a standalone fantasy. Like the first book was just fine on its own, except that, you know, the couple didn't end up together in the first book. So change the ending around a little bit in the first book, have the couple end up together, and then be done with it. So, and then the couple in this was frustrating. Ying, she didn't want to forgive Yi Yang after what he did in the first book, and back and forth. They really loved each other. They would kiss, blah, 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 but then she'd be mad at him again because how dare he betrayed her, blah, blah. I was disappointed in this book. I was disappointed in it, and I wish it had ended differently. So I ended up giving The Blood Phoenix 3 stars. Honestly, if you're gonna read that duology, read the first book and don't bother reading the second one. In my Christmas reading vlog, I also read The Book Club Hotel by Sarah Morgan. Now, this is not a romance. It's about 3 friends from college going to a quaint inn in Vermont during Christmas break to have their annual book club, and them meeting the owner of the inn, who is widowed, has a daughter, and through some circumstances they become friends, basically. And so this was about found family and overcoming your personal struggles. Each of the 4 main characters in this book had their own personal struggles that they were all working through, and having friends there to support you, having family there to support you. And it was just a winter cozy feel-good read. I really enjoyed this book. Definitely worth the read. I liked the audiobook. I enjoyed this author's writing. I would definitely read other books by this author in the future. Yeah, it was really cute. And there was a little bit of a romance. The main plot of the book was not romance, but there was a little bit of a romance in it, it added to the story for sure. So I gave The Book Club Hotel 4 stars. Then I got into Winter Street by Elin Hilderbrand. This is the first book in her winter series, and most, if not all, of her books are set in Nantucket. And this book is about a family. The mother and father, they have 3 kids. They're divorced. The father remarried, and him and his current wife have 1 child. This was kind of a day in the life story where this whole book, which is not very long, took place over 3 days over Christmas. And it was family turmoil, wife cheating on husband, ex-wife coming back into the picture, issues with all of the children, mom coming in and saving the day, 40-year-old adults acting like children. This book was fine. I enjoy this author's writing. I think she has very good prose. I just don't think her books are for me. This is the second Elin Hilderbrand book that I've read, and I just don't enjoy slice of life stories like this. I just don't. They're just not for me. So overall, this book was a good, fast read. And if you enjoy literary fiction, slice of life, family drama, this book is for you. Unfortunately, it just wasn't for me. More of my thoughts, again, in my Christmas reading vlog, because I did read 6 books in that vlog. So I ended up giving Winter Street 3.25 stars. So still not a bad rating overall, still above 50%. Then I listened to A Cross Country Christmas by Courtney Walsh. It was a cute book based around the winter season. I wouldn't really call it a Christmas book because the journey took place before Christmas. And this was a book about a girl. Again, I'm terrible at names. I've read so many books this month, I don't remember anyone's names. So the main female character, she doesn't like to fly. She lives in California, and her brother wants her to come home for Christmas because she hasn't come home for Christmas in many years. And her brother and their family live in Indiana, I think. Indiana, Illinois, one of those two. And the brother wants her to come home for Christmas. Well, she doesn't like to fly, and she doesn't want to drive. Well, luckily for her, her brother's best friend, who also lives in California, is going on a little road trip, driving from California to Illinois, Indiana, offers to take her along. Well, she gets in the car and she doesn't realize that this isn't just get to point A to point B. He's planned out this whole trip and is stopping along multiple stops on the way. But she didn't know that. So she was planning on getting to Indiana in like 2 or 3 days. And instead, he wants to take over a week. And she doesn't know why, and he doesn't really tell her why, and he stops at all these weird random places and she doesn't quite understand it. Underneath all of this, as her brother's best friend growing up, she obviously had a crush on him. She was in love with him. And through college, he treated her not so nicely. Because he was, you know, sports star, drank a lot, fucked a lot of girls. He just didn't treat her very well. There were some things that happened and some things that he didn't remember that he did. And so she's still holding a grudge against him. He doesn't know what he did, so he doesn't know why she hates him so much. So they work through their issues, going back and forth between, oh my gosh, I really like him, he's really sweet, maybe he's changed, blah, 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 to no, nope, how he treated me in the past, get away from me, get away. I liked it. It was cute. It was a fast listen. I will be reading the next book in the series. I think there's at least one more after that, if not 2, I can't remember. But I ended up giving a Cross Country Christmas 3.75 stars, so a really good rating. Now, for the DNF that I had this month. This may not come as a surprise to you if you've been watching a couple of my videos. And that would be The Christmas Fix by Lucy Score. Now, this is the second book in a series. I attempted to read the first book in the series a couple of months ago and also DNF'd it. For similar reasons, I DNF'd this book as well. It started off good. I liked the beginning. I don't remember how long I got into it, maybe 100 pages or so. I could not stand the main male character. He was a dick for absolutely no reason. Absolutely no reason. He treated the main female character like absolute dirt. He didn't know her character, didn't know her priorities, didn't know her personality, and would accuse her of terrible things with absolutely no evidence to back any of that up. It was just a random thought that passed through his mind and then came out of his mouth. So, in no world would I have believed that after all of the shit that he said to her, demeaning her, saying shit about her character that he had no business saying, that he did because he doesn't know her, in no world would I think, oh, well, she's gonna just forgive him, pretend he didn't say any of that stuff, and fall in love with him? Are you kidding? No, no, no. No, no, no. So, after multiple interactions between the two of them, where in his mind he would say, oh my gosh, she's so attractive, I'm so attracted to her, blah, 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 she's so pretty, and then the next second be saying really mean shit to her? Like, no. No, no. So I couldn't deal with it anymore. I couldn't deal with it because their romance and love story wouldn't have been believable to me. It wouldn't have been believable. So I ended up DNFing this. I didn't get far enough in it to give it a rating or anything like that. Bye. Then, wait, water break. Okay, guys, we're getting through this and I need to speed up because I only have half a battery left. On my long drive to Oklahoma, I read, or rather listened to, How My Neighbor Stole Christmas by Megan Quinn. Now, this book is a parody of The Grinch. A lot of the characters are similarly named from characters in How the Grinch Stole Christmas. This was a cute rom-com set in the town of Kringle in Colorado. We've got our main female character, Story, and the main male character, Cole Black, who is supposed to be the Grinch in this story. We've got Cole's best friend, Max. We've got Story's Aunt Cindy Lewis. We've got the two busybodies in town of Martha and May. And so every year in Kringle, the town has a contest for who will become the Christmas Kringle. And it's basically who has the best Christmas spirit, who can be the nicest to their neighbors, who can decorate their house the best, who can wrap presents the best, just different Christmas activities like that. And they put on a contest and they all compete against each other to receive this title. So Story and her sister come into town to take care of their Aunt Cindy, who has fallen and broken her hip. Apparently, Cindy usually competes in this contest every year, and she usually gets second place, and she's never gotten first place. And so she wants Story to compete in this contest for her so that maybe she can win this year since Cindy isn't physically able to. Well, Story doesn't want to because in the past when she was 18, she kind of made a fool of herself and embarrassed her in front of and embarrassed herself in front of the town. And she is reluctant to do anything where there might be some kind of public opinion thrust on her. Cole, who knew Story growing up because she would come visit every Christmas, he lost his parents about 10 years ago. Through some, things that teenagers said, he has been holding a grudge against her for the last 10 years. So since Story enters into this contest, Cole decides that she absolutely cannot win this contest. There's no way. She's an out-of-towner. He has this grudge against her. She's a terrible person and she doesn't deserve to be the town Christmas Kringle. So he, a curmudgeonly loner, is going to enter into the contest to try to beat her. That is his sole purpose, to beat her. And Max, his best friend, is also in the contest with him to be his little helper. They have a lot of banter back and forth. I found myself laughing out loud a lot. A lot of banter, a lot of cute moments. They, quote, hated each other at first. Story didn't know why Cole was mad at her. She didn't realize what was going on in his mind. He wouldn't tell her. He was being stubborn about it. He didn't just come out and say, hey, you did this and it really made me mad, or it really upset me, or whatever. Of course not. They made it at least halfway through the book before he even said anything. It was just, I'm mad at you, I don't like you, I'm gonna be mean to you, I'm gonna do everything to sabotage you in this contest. And Story didn't know why. And she was just trying to do her best in this contest for her Aunt Cindy, along the way trying not to embarrass herself like she did in the past. Well, eventually things come out and they get close and they get together and it's really cute. It's really cute. And how the story ended was really cute. I really enjoyed it. I will be reading the other books in the series. I can't wait for those. I mean, this banter between them, I was laughing out loud. I was laughing out loud multiple times, cracking up. Super cute. I ended up giving How My Neighbor Stole Christmas 4 stars. Okay, then guys, you guys will be proud of me, or at least you should be, because guess what? I finally finished An Echo in the Bone, Outlander book number 7. Now, did I start this book back in July? Yeah, I did. Did I get 70%? That is 70% of the way through in July. Yeah, I did. Did it take me the next 6 months to read the last 30%? Also, yes. But I got it done. That was a almost 1,500 page book, and I finally finished it. I love Outlander. I love Jamie Fraser. Let's be real. Love Claire. Love their story. Do I love listening or / reading about Lord John and Willie? No, I don't. They're boring. But you gotta still get through it. Anyway, there were some things that happened at the end of this book we don't know the answer to. I was literally listening to this in the car, driving down the highway. I was less than an hour from my parents' house. So I'm driving down the highway and listen to the book, and all of a sudden the narrator says, "The end." I literally said, "What? The end? What? How can this be the end? There's more stuff that needs to happen." So even after an almost 1,500 page book, I didn't want it to end because there were unanswered questions. It immediately made me want to jump into book 8, which if you know the Outlander books, you don't always want to do that. So, needless to say, I finally finished the book. I wish it didn't end. And now I'm going to have to read the next book in the series quickly so I can get some answers. I'm not going to talk too much about this book because obviously it's book 7 and a lot of stuff happens in these books. A lot of stuff happens. I love these books. I love this series. I love the writing. Is it a little meandering at times? Yes, it is. But it's still really good. So I gave An Echo in the Bone 4 stars. 4 stars. Really loved it. Now, I actually just heard from one of my friends today. She just finished book number 8, which is In My Heart's Own Blood. Written in my own heart's blood. And she just finished it, and she said it went by much faster than the previous couple books have. Because we have, over the last years that we've known each other, we've been reading these books. And the last, like, books 5 and 6 and even 7 are a little bit slow. And so she said book 8 isn't quite as slow. So that's good news. Then, while I was at my parents' house, I did finish London Prep book 6, which is The Country House. And we continue to follow Mallory and Noah in their relationship, along with their friends Muhammad and Harry. Just the normal teenage drama that they get into. So Mallory was an exchange student from the US to London. And I think the exchange program was about 2 weeks long. And then through some turns of events, Mallory ended up staying and continued to further the relationships that she had developed in London. This series is high school drama, lots of it. It's very moment by moment, like the exact things that people think, the exact texts that they send, the exact conversations that they have. That's just how Gillian Dodd writes her books, and I personally like that. In these books, in London Prep and Keaton Chronicles, and also what is the other series? The spy one. Spy Girl? Something like that. It's all moment by moment. Each like chapter is one day. And she breaks it down into like time domains. So at 1 o'clock, these are the events that happened at 1 o'clock. And then at 5 o'clock, these are the events that happened at 5 o'clock, etc. So it's very moment by moment, day by day. I really enjoy this series. I love Gillian Dodd's writing. I love her as an author. I've read so many of her books. Now, this being book 6, I don't want to talk too much about it because it'll give a lot of stuff away. But this series is definitely worth reading if you enjoy like a YA romance, Gossip Girl-esque in London kind of a feel. So I gave The Country House 4 stars. Okay, we have 2 more books to talk about. I gotta rapid fire these. Then on the way back from Oklahoma, I listened to A Gentleman in Moscow by Amor Towles. And this is also another day in the life story about Alexander Rostov. And this is during multiple wars that happen in Russia. This book spans several decades, and it encompasses several wars and civil wars and also world wars, etc. in Russia. So Alexander is Russian. So he is accused of being an unrepentant aristocrat by a Bolshevik tribunal and sentenced to basically house arrest in this hotel that he lives in. However, he doesn't get to stay in his nice cushy apartment in the hotel. He has to move into the servants' quarters and all his stuff is taken away. And he's never allowed to step foot outside of this hotel for the rest of his life. So this is about his day-to-day life living in this hotel in war-torn Russia through the ups and the downs of the country, all the political unrest, the people that he meets, his friends in the hotel who work in the hotel, and that sort of stuff. Now, This is an 18-hour audiobook. I listened to it in one day. Again, as I previously said, I don't enjoy slice of life stories. And this is exactly what that was. Now, I'm sure there's supposed to be some deeper meaning about coming to terms with his life and him adapting and blah, 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 and whatever. I'm sure there are, like, you know, deeper, read into stuff as you will. That's fine. However, I got bored with it when I was driving in the car, but I kept pushing on because I knew that I would finish it before I got home, and I didn't want to, you know, I did get bored, but I figured I may as well just finish the audiobook since I didn't have another audiobook downloaded. This spans from the early 1920s until after World War II. I think the book ends maybe in the late 1950s or the 1960s, something like that. And it's really just about his life in Russia and his friends and all of that. And it was fine. I didn't mind it. I didn't love it. It was fine. It was fine. It was a good read if you enjoy literary fiction and if you want to know a little bit more about Russian history and just, you know, kind of day-to-day life there. So I gave A Gentleman in Moscow 3.5 stars. Now, let's talk about the last book that I read in December. And that was Kissing My Coworker by Jay Sterling. And this is the first book in the Fun for the Holidays series. This is a holiday novella series where there is one book for each month that's centered around whatever holiday or theme for that month. So the first book is a New Year's Eve story. This book, we have our two main characters. They work together. They've worked together for a couple of years and they've always had a crush on each other, but they haven't acted on it because of various past office relationships that have been really traumatic for the rest of the office staff. This book is also in my January winter seasonal reading vlog, which won't be posted for like 2 or 3 more weeks. So if you want more full thoughts on this book, please check out that reading vlog. It will be posted soon. Even though this book was a novella, I still really enjoyed it. I typically don't love novellas because I want there to be more in-depth character development and such, but I still really enjoyed the book. I found myself laughing out loud, smiling, really enjoying the book. It was super cute. So I gave Kissing My Coworker 4.25 stars. So overall, a very good rating. Now, that wraps up my December reads. I really hope you enjoyed this video. Please make sure to like the video, subscribe to my channel, and I will see you in the next video in a couple days. Bye.